Hey, this is drberry. In this video, which I'm going to try to keep short, I'm going to take a little bit deeper dive into what you can drink when you're fasting. So if you're trying to intermittently fast, time restrict your eating window, or do a longer fast, I'm going to talk about the fluids that you can drink and not meaningfully break your fast. Now, if you know someone who's just getting started with fasting and would like this information, please share this with them on their Facebook, their Instagram. You can share it on your own Facebook, and you're always welcome to share this sort of video in your groups on Facebook and other places. That helps me reach and help so many more people. Now, let's jump into this and let's talk about this. First of all, I need to know, what is your goal for fasting? If your goal is to ramp up autophagy, and if you don't know what that is, I've got a video on that, on autophagy, on this channel, and then also on my Facebook page. Autophagy is the process by which your body auto digests older tissues, older cells that aren't working as well as they should be, and making new cells out of that material. It's a very powerful thing that can help tighten your skin. It can help you even digest and break down early cancers and get rid of them. Autophagy is very powerful. You need to look into that if you don't already know about it. But if your goal is to ramp up autophagy as high as you can, you need to water fast. You need to drink water only, and you need to take your minerals, or is another name for salt. And the most common ones you're going to need are sodium, chloride, magnesium, and potassium, right? And so if that's your goal, is to maximize autophagy, you need to water fast, and that's it. Now, if your goal is to keep your insulin level very, very low, and your inflammation level very low, then you can do the other things that I'm going to talk about in this video. You will still get some of the autophagy benefits by using these other fluids, maybe not as much as you would get with water. Okay, so let's talk about that. First of all is water. That is the number one liquid to fast with. Okay, the whole point of fasting in the modern sense is to keep your insulin level very low, keep your inflammation very low, to maximize autophagy. But also, since we're modern humans and we're not living out in the woods, we also want to not suffer, right? We want to mimic fasting, but not have the suffering that comes along with starving yourself. And so by using salt and by using a little bit of fat, you can mimic the fasting benefits. You're not going to get 100% of them, but you're going to get a lot of them by doing it the way I'm going to explain to you below. And so you can fast with water. No one has a problem with that. No one questions that. You can put salt in the water. And for me, when I'm fasting, salt helps to curb my hunger greatly. Okay. You can also put 1 or 2 drops of lemon juice or lime juice. I don't think any of the experts would argue that that would meaningfully raise your insulin level and break your fast. If you put the juice from an entire lemon, yes, that's probably going to break your fast. But 1 or 2 drops to knock the water flavor off the water. Some people hate the taste of water. I hate some water, but you have to do that. Now, somebody asked me the other day, how come we have to put all these minerals in our water or in our food, the magnesium, the potassium, the sodium? I mean, our ancestors didn't do that. Well, you have to remember, they used to eat much more fatty meat than we usually do. And there's tons of minerals in the meat, right? But they also used to drink water from where? Not from the tap. The only minerals that our water currently has in it in the United States is chlorine and fluoride. And those aren't really very helpful minerals. Our ancestors used to drink spring water. They used to drink creek water, river water, lake water, mud puddle water, and all those sources of water still are very rich in the minerals. But these days, our gut isn't used to that kind of water. And so I promise you'll pay with disaster pants and maybe a more serious infection if you try to do that. It's better to just add the minerals back into the water that used to be there naturally. Now, the next liquid you can fast with absolutely is real tea. And I say that because you can't go buy Lipton tea in the bottle and expect that to be good for you. It's not. You want to make your own tea, whether it's, you can have hot tea, you can have iced tea, you can have green tea, black tea. All those are great for fasting. They actually have things in them that will increase your metabolic rate, help you burn off the energy faster. But you can put a little spoonful of butter in your hot tea. You can put a drop or two of lemon or lime. You can add salt to your tea. All of those things will help you fast, will help keep your insulin level low so you can move towards your health goals, whether that's weight loss or otherwise, right? The next liquid is coffee. Almost no one disagrees that you can fast with coffee. Black coffee is obviously the best, or black coffee with a little salt in it. But if you're hungry and you're suffering and you're miserable, you can add a teaspoon of butter or ghee or MCT oil to your coffee. Adding more fat to your coffee is not magic. You just want just enough fat so you're not suffering, you're not hungry, right? So you can continue with your day, you can do the job you have to do and not have hunger pains distracting you, okay? So my current morning keto coffee is very strong Sumatra coffee with a teaspoon of butter and a big pinch of salt. And I work great here at the Berry Clinic doing that. I see lots of patients every day I'm here, and I don't get tired. I'm not starving. My stomach's not growling, but my insulin level stays very low. So I'm able to burn the fat that I'm trying to get to. And I also have some autophagy benefits from that, although not as much as I would have if I were just using water, right? The next liquid you can fast with, without doubt, is Ketorade. Nisha and I did a video on YouTube, and it'll pop up towards the end of this video, and you can watch that if you don't know what Ketorade is or how to make Ketorade. But you want to leave the sweetener out, because we'll talk about the sweet things here in a minute and why they probably do meaningfully break your fast. But Ketorade with no sweetener is also a great liquid you can sip on during your fast. You're getting all your minerals, and you can actually make your Ketorade a science experiment. We put a couple of drops of iodine in ours and lots of different minerals and even some ACV, and we'll talk about that, which is apple cider vinegar. The next liquid you can fast with is pickle juice, which is basically salty water, right? This is Nisha's personal favorite. She loves pickle juice. I'll catch her sometimes drinking it out of the pickle jar out of the fridge, and I pretend to be upset by that, but I'm really not. But you don't want, obviously, to use the juice from sweet pickles like bread and butter pickles or some other pickle like that. It needs to have zero carbs, zero sweetener, zero sugar. But pickle juice is fine in that case. Now, a couple of maybes that for some people it might work fine, for other people it won't work so fine, is heavy whipping cream. A lot of people can use that in the beginning, but a lot of people stall after a few months of using heavy whipping cream in their coffee, because it does have a small amount of protein and it does have a small amount of carbohydrates still in it. And both of those might meaningfully elevate your insulin and break your fast. And so plus or minus on the heavy whipping cream, I know it's delicious. I know, trust me. I used to put so much heavy whipping cream in my coffee earlier in my journey. But now, if I did that, it would definitely stall my progress and start to make me gain weight. And so, another thing is soft drinks. You may have seen Keto in Canada. Joanna's a friend of mine. She can do her fasting fine with Diet Coke. Works great for her. For other people, it doesn't work because of that sweet taste. Okay. Now, let me go ahead and tell you why any sweet taste in your liquid might break your fast. And I think for some people, this is a bigger deal than for others. There's this thing in human beings and actually in all mammals called the cephalic phase insulin response. When you have a sweet taste in your mouth, it automatically raises your insulin level, because think about it, 50,000 years ago, if our ancestors had something sweet tasting in their mouth, there were carbs coming down the pike. And so our body, always trying to keep the blood sugar as low as it can, because that's the healthiest state for humans, would immediately bump up the insulin in anticipation of the coming carbohydrates. And so even if you're using a good sweetener like stevia, monk fruit extract, erythritol, xylitol, some of those, you may still bump your insulin level a meaningful amount and break your fast with those. And so my advice is, if you're stalled and you're not making the progress you want to make, you've got to get the sweeteners, all sweeteners, out of your fasting liquid. Obviously, sugar, honey, agave nectar, they're going to be terrible. You don't want to do those at all. But for some people, even the non-caloric sweeteners will still meaningfully break your fast. So keep that in mind. Now let's talk about some absolute no's, that you do not want this in your fasting liquid, whichever liquid you choose. And that is, number one is bone broth. Now, I am a huge proponent of the health magic that real homemade bone broth will give you, but it will absolutely break your fast. It has amino acids and proteins and other things that will absolutely break your fast. I'm sorry, you can't use that to fast with if your goal is to keep your insulin level very low, okay? Another big no is collagen powders. A lot of people put collagen powder in their fasting liquid. Absolutely breaks your fast. Amino acids are known to break a fast. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about the science behind this. Branched chain amino acids obviously are amino acids, but I feel like I have to say this because the supplement marketing companies really push branched chain amino acids, and they are maybe good for some people. If you're lifting at a competitive level, you might need those. I don't think normal people need those at all, and you definitely don't want them in your fasting liquid if weight loss is one of your health improvement goals. Any protein, any carbohydrate, any sweet taste is going to probably break your fast. Definitely the protein and carbs will break your fast. The sweet taste may or may not, depending on your individual metabolism. Nut milks, coconut milk, almond milk, which I think probably play a part in some people's ketogenic way of eating, don't need to be in your fasting liquid. They will break your fast. And lastly, exogenous ketones. I've got 3 videos on this channel about exogenous ketones and what I think about them. They definitely don't need to be in your fasting liquid. Now, I want to know, what's your favorite liquid to fast with? Will you put it down in the comments below? And then also, if you have any questions about, hey, what about this? Can I put that? Can I put this? Leave your questions in the comments, and I'm going to try to answer as many as I can. I get a lot of comments, but I'm going to try. Okay, now if this video helped you, please consider clicking the subscribe button and the little bell right beside it. That way, every time I have a bright idea, you'll be one of the very first people to know. And I want to invite you to join Nisha and I on our Facebook Sunday Night live video. Every Sunday night at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, we go live on Facebook and answer as many questions as we can and try to pass on some wisdom so that we can help as many people as possible get healthier. This is Dr. Berry. I'll see you next time.